Without further ado, welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Athian.
And I'm Adrian.
And today we're going to kick things off with a little Ryan Reynolds quiz. Correct the quote. Nope. We're going to start off with a little Ryan Reynolds guess the quote, put it to the right movie deal. All right, Big Apple, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I know I'm ready. Hold on. Before we get started, what's your favorite Ryan Reynolds movie?
Recent memory, I've seen Deadpool. So yeah,
okay, classic. But
yeah.
like non superhero movie.
The Proposal, probably.
I think for me it's Just Friends.
Just Friends?
It's just, there's something about it, man. There's something about it. Fat guy got a triumph. All right. Quote number 1. I loved her. I loved her like an ocean loves water. So it sounds like a rom-com. We have Just Friends. Definitely, maybe. Deadpool 2. A Million Ways to Die in the West. He was in that?
I guess he was. I feel like it was
like a one-off or a small? Yeah, it seems like maybe
because the whole movie was about all
people dying. Yeah, that's fair. Been a minute since I've seen that one. All right, Big A, what you thinking?
I want you to answer this one because I actually was going through it.
Oh, you already know the answers. Yeah. Okay, Big Apple knows the answers. Sheesh. I loved her like an ocean loves water. Probably, definitely, maybe. I don't think he'd say something like that in Just Friends. It was Deadpool 2?
Yeah, apparently. I actually picked Just Friends. I thought I remembered.
I thought something like that would have been. That was actually my second choice. Yeah. I like. I guess if you put the little Ryan Reynolds delivery on it, that could make sense in a Deadpool 2 movie. Good. I like how they wave it in your face. 87% of players got this question right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, one of the 2% losers. All right. When the body suffers, the spirit flowers. Hobbs and Shaw, the Amityville. I haven't seen this one.
Oh yeah, he was in
Amityville. How do you say this? Amityville Horror.
Amityville.
The Amityville Horror, Adventureland, or Woman in Gold. He's been in more movies than I thought.
Wow.
I don't think he'd say that in Hobbs and Shaw, but I can't believe that that's a movie he was in. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember that being like a surprise cameo.
I want to say that's something, if this isn't like a comedy and this is some sort of horror thing, I'm pretty sure the Amityville Horror would be something that he'd say that in.
You think so?
I mean, not having seen it, probably. What do you think?
Yeah, I haven't seen.
It was horror. Let's go. Because that sounds like something like if it is a horror movie. Yeah, 2005. It probably was.
Yeah.
That like if he was the person doing the torturing or whatever, like that sounds like something like a conniving mad scientist would say before he tortures you.
Yeah.
All right.
I forget his role in Hobbs and Shaw. What was it?
He was the Kevin Hart to the. He was like the man like who gave Hobbs. Or is it Shaw? No, it's Hobbs. Hobbs is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He met him for pancakes and he was like, "Hey, here's the mission.
Oh,
and I'm your guy.
Like
and here's some intel."
Okay.
He's like the middleman.
Yeah.
He's like, "Go do this job." But he's also an agent too, because he actually was doing work too towards the end.
Right.
I hope they make like a big 4-off thing. That would be so ridiculous and fun. You could imagine my disappointment when it suddenly dawned on me that the woman I love is about to be kicked out of the country. How was that? Was it pretty good?
It was decent.
Is that from The Change Up? Coming soon? Definitely, maybe. Or The Proposal. I would assume The Proposal.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one with Sandra Bullock needing a green card?
Right.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Hey, sure enough. There you go. Ryan Reynolds plays Andrew Paxton, opposite Sandra Bullock. Now let's get these pants off and fly some planes. Green Lantern, probably? Deadpool, R.I.P.D., or The Hitman's Bodyguard. I would say it's between Green Lantern and The Hitman's Bodyguard.
I feel like he wouldn't say something this
like risque.
Yeah, risque. Like in Green Lantern.
Maybe
I don't know
not.
that they would let him.
I would agree with that. So probably The Hitman's Bodyguard or possibly R.I.P.D. Well, I mean, maybe that seems like a Deadpool line. You think Deadpool is safe?
It could be, but I don't think they've. Let's see what
he wouldn't say fly planes, right?
2 on the plane. He was in a plane on Deadpool 2.
That's true.
So,
but it's not an option.
Yeah. So I don't know that it would be the first.
I want to go with Hitman's Bodyguard. It was Green Lantern. I was right because Hal Jordan's a pilot.
He is a pilot.
It seems like something he would say if he was saying it to his love interest, but then they cut away because it's PG-13.
Yeah.
Like they say that. They go back to kissing and it cuts away. Like I think that's probably verbatim how it went down. Okay, I don't remember. Yeah. It's been so long.
Yeah, I felt like the way I read it was a little bit different context.
Oh no, I totally went the pilot route. I thought it was Green Lantern. I'm gonna go with my gut, Big A. You're killing me.
Yeah, my bad. That's on me.
Number 5, you feel it When you really believe in something despite everyone telling you you're wrong. Okay. Detective Pikachu. It's probably that. Hobbs and Shaw, Safe House, or The Nines. Because wasn't he like literally a detective?
Yeah, yeah. He was Pikachu.
I can't believe he was in that too, man. This dude's been in everything. I'm going to go with Detective Pikachu. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
it's Detective Pikachu. Control. If you're listening, and you probably are because you're that creepy, because you're creepy that way. Can I just rant about... I'm going to do this again. Control. If you're listening... and you probably are because you're creepy that way, can I just rant for a second about the micromanagement? The Voices, Ted, Life, or Six Underground? I don't think that's something he would have said in Six Underground. Maybe The Voices?
The only movie out of this I've seen is Life.
What was Life about?
Life was about, it was like a Venom almost.
Basically Venom?
Yeah, basically Venom, but it was unleashed upon the crew.
Oh, well that's probably Life then. That's that horror space one that he was in?
Yeah.
Oh, then it's probably just Life because he says Control. I mean, Houston to Control to Houston.
You know, yeah,
it's probably Life.
Sense.
Good catch. Yeah, sure enough.
I read Ted. I don't remember him. Ted.
I don't. What did he play in Ted? What
was he in Ted? Is that like a throwaway one?
I'm gonna look it up. Ted Ryan. There's no way he was in Ted. Was he in Ted? No way. He had a cameo scene as Jared. Ryan Reynolds is Jared. I gotta go back and watch Ted.
Yeah, same thing.
Weird. You were right to think it was a throwaway. It was a quick thing. All right. Everyone's got that one thing that makes them happy. For me, it's terrifying, blazing speed. Blade Trinity, it's probably that. Oh, wait, no, Turbo. That's the animated movie. Detective Pikachu or Bottleneck. I'm thinking Turbo.
I'm thinking Turbo.
That's got to be Turbo. Yeah, sure enough. I like how most people, only 43% of people got that right. Like, I like how most people were torn. They're like, it's got to be Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Number 8. You become this complete non-sexual entity in her eyes, like her brother or Lamp. I'm getting better with these. Just Friends, more than likely. Definitely Maybe. The In-Laws, or Fireflies in the Garden. What's your guess?
I don't know.
It's Just Friends.
You think so?
It has to be. It has to be. I mean, I just know it.
Yes.
It has to be Just Friends. Yeah. Yeah, because that's something he would say. I get it, man. You got a little speck of blood on your everywhere. Hitman's Bodyguard, Criminal, Mississippi Grind, never heard of it, and Ted, probably the Hitman's Bodyguard?
Yeah.
If it involves blood.
Yeah, I would think.
All right, I'm going with that. Sure enough, 65% of people agree with me.
How would he say that in Ted?
He was just a cameo scene, and they look like they're at a party in the photo I pulled up.
Okay.
There's no way. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Stupid. Number 10. Yes, I am in fact the toilet paper guy, but feel free to call me the bagel and coffee guy. The Voices, Definitely Maybe, Waiting, or Ted.
What was The Voices about? Was that an alien movie?
That sounds like an alien movie, or maybe like a split thing. The Voices. The Voices is... It's not the TV show. I know that for a fact. The Voices, 2014, showing Ryan Reynolds on the poster with a dog in an all-pink suit, stars Ryan Reynolds, a likable guy pursues his office crush with the help of his evil talking pets, but things turn sinister when she stands him up for a date. Anna Kendrick? Bro, we gotta watch The Voices, Big A. What? Well, then I'm gonna say it's The Voices, because if he's a coffee guy and then he's a toilet paper guy and he's dressed like that, look at this, he's dressed like a guy changes your oil. It's probably The Voices. I'm gonna go with that. It is Definitely Maybe.
Okay.
Then what is Definitely Maybe about? Let's find out. Definitely Maybe. I can't even spell definitely. We're moving on. This is called a brain. I think that's where ideas go. That's a Detective Pikachu line. It's option 1 is Detective Pikachu. Option 2 is Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Option 3 is Turbo, and option 4 is the Croods. Oh, I take it back. I guess if he was in the Croods, that sounds like a Croods line. The Croods, like the caveman.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't remember.
Who does he play?
Yeah, who does he play?
The Croods. I can't believe I'm not more familiar with Ryan Reynolds.
Right? Yeah, he just keeps popping up in all these movies we've seen, but
I didn't know he was in. Yeah, especially animated ones. Okay, so he played. Nicolas Cage is okay. So Nicolas Cage is Grug, the patriarch of it, and Ryan Reynolds played Guy. I guess he's like the younger love interest to that Emma Stone's Eve.
Oh, that's right.
That's funny.
I do remember.
I can't believe. Wow, I didn't know. I'm gonna say that's the Crudes. Yep, that was the Crudes Big Apple. I got you on that one. Great. Stuck in an elevator with 5 guys on a high protein diet. That sounds maybe like a Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. Before he got
Deadpool. Yeah, mouth closed, exactly. Deadpool, foolproof for the Hitman's Bodyguard. I'm gonna go with Wolverine because I'm pretty sure there was a whole elevator scene, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
There you go.
Before his big scene.
Before his actual,
Where he cuts all the bullets.
That was pretty cool. Number 13. But with loneliness comes freedom to go where you please. Do what you want. A Million Ways to Die in the West, Woman in Gold, The Captive, or 6 Underground. I think that's I'm leaning towards 6 Underground because the premise of that is that literally sorry, let me take that back. The premise of that movie was that literally you were 6 under. Everyone who was an operative or a special agent was legally dead. And they had like remember that movie? They had all their identities changed or covered up or whatever.
Okay.
So like they're legally dead in their old life and they go by like new names and it's just like this little ragtag group. That sounds like a 6 Underground reference. What are you thinking?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know because I haven't seen that or.
Really? It's on Netflix.
I don't think I've seen any of these. I've seen The Captive, but isn't that about him losing his daughter?
Probably. That sounds like something they would do.
Because I remember Buried was about him being buried alive.
So definitely not that, yeah. Well, go ahead and pick an answer, Big A. I'm pretty sure mine's the right one.
All right, we'll see. I'll choose the Captive.
It's your funeral.
Yeah.
It's 6 Underground. I like how only 45% of people got that, and like everyone else thought it was A Million Ways to Die in the West, which I could see that, I guess, but no, it's not that. Number 14. We recommend opening the can and exacting the little worm with a pair of tweezers and shutting the can as quickly as possible. The Whale, The In-Laws, Just Friends, or Woman in Gold. No clue. That's so out of context. Yep. The Whale, maybe? If they're trying to like bait marine life.
Who's that one?
Dude, I don't know what any of these 4 are about, bro. Except Just Friends. I know what that's about. I'm going with The Whale. What are you thinking, Big Apple?
Sure. Yeah, let's go with
Oh
that.
my God. Woman in Gold. Because you are a baby. You are an infant. You still have an imaginary friend. Paperman. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. R.I.P.D. or Adventureland. Do you remember who he played in White Castle?
No, I don't. I haven't seen it.
I have, but it's been a long time, so I don't think it's that one.
Paperman. What is that about?
I'm gonna look it up. I'm cheating, but I'm gonna do it. Let's see. Paperman. If the synopsis will tell me enough, I think. Paperman.
And then R.I.P.D. Was he the cop or was he the one who was alive and being recruited?
He was the one who was being recruited because the older guy was I'm losing his name right now. Is it Jeff Bridges? Yeah, Jeff Bridges. He was like the dead guy who was like recruiting him, right? This is how we do things. So Paperman is a washed-up writer forms an unlikely relationship or friendship rather with a teenager from Long Island. A teenager. Putting too much pressure. I'm gonna go with Adventureland. That sounds like pretty whimsical. Yeah. And it was not that. Go ahead, choose yours.
That's Paperman.
Yeah, you got Paperman. I should have gone with you, Big Apple. All right, you take the whole quiz. I got nothing. I scored better than 6% of quiz takers. What about you?
60-something.
We had basically the same answers? How did you get like a whole 60% better than me? It's rigged. The whole quiz is rigged.
A little.
All right, and when we come back, we'll talk Loki episode 5. Well, picking up on episode 5, what we last saw, or when we had last seen Loki, he had been pruned by Judge Renslayer, and we had that little after credit scene where like boom, he woke up in like this little void at the end of time. Some other Lokis were there to kind of greet him, so to speak. Immediately as soon as he dropped in.
Yeah. Right away.
And so we're like, oh, what's gonna happen? So this is where we find out what happens. Pretty much from the jump, they're like on the run, and they're trying to run away from this big monster in the sky, who we later learn is Eliath, and he basically like eats any matter that's sent there, people, matter, whatever, all the junk.
He's essentially there to keep them from escaping
or even thriving. He feeds on them. So so his whole deal is to feast on the mistakes of the timeline. And That's pretty terrifying. The funniest part is that like there's no like seminar getting you up to speed. They're just like run. And
yeah, like right away.
He's like, there's an alligator.
He asks like 3 different questions and he answers them like straight up, right in order. And then he's like, we got to take off.
We got to go. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like trying to get all these answers. He's like, why are we running? Like, let's form a plan. The plan is to run. Let's run.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's an alligator, and I'm sad to say that I'm not even surprised by that. I was like, dude, this is great. This is just peak mania. And at first, when I first saw this episode, I was kind of annoyed with it because I was like, it kind of feels like filler and just Easter eggs and like references and like I want to get on with it. You know what I mean? But for what it was just a fun ride from start to finish because we have the little B plot with like we'll get to it, but Mobius and Renslayer and trying to get answers and all that. The
more plot driven.
It's narrative, exactly. And whereas this is just like, look at all these basically what ifs, you know what I mean? Like look at all these Lokis from all these other timelines. And they explain it later and it's cool, we'll get into it. But they're survivors. Like they end up not getting eaten. And there's so many of them. Like alternate versions that don't even look like Tom Hiddleston, obviously. There's old Loki, there's kid Loki, there's I don't even know if there's a special name for it, but the Loki who had like a hammer.
Oh, the boastful Loki.
Boastful Loki.
Yeah,
that's him. Oh, that fits with this character because he was bragging the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
But he had a hammer. I'm like, what's with the hammer? Is that like his form of Mjolnir?
Yeah, I think in his reality he somehow
like
took it
usurped. Thor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because isn't he the older brother?
Loki?
Yeah, Loki.
I actually don't even remember. Maybe. I mean, is he adopted in every timeline? And if so, you know.
Oh no, he's the younger.
I think I feel like he's the younger.
Yeah.
Because even if he is or isn't, he's adopted. So like, when did he come into the fold? And it depends on the timeline. Yeah, I think it's more of like a, I don't know. No, because Thor gets it in the first movie because doesn't Odin say they're both up for it, but then he ends up giving it to Thor anyway?
I thought it was because he was older. Like just that.
It's probably just because he's actually his kid. That's
that's
some tea.
Too.
That's some tea right there. Anyway, back to Loki episode 5. We're jumping around a bit, but for some reason, we cut back at some point to Sylvie, basically like with Judge Renslayer, I think that's her name, right?
Right.
And she's got her dead to rights, and she's like, you're gonna work with me, and Renslayer's trying to talk her way out of it. You can tell she's thinking on her feet. She's like, no, I can help you. I just want to know the truth too, which is true. It's half true, and like we see that even later. Like she's acting on her own interests, and she's saying whatever she can to just avoid being killed by Sylvie. And I really think they had us going for a minute. I really thought Renslayer might come around once she found out the truth about the androids.
Yeah.
But no, they're still diametrically opposed. I mean, even when she corners her later in the episode in the courtroom after all the TVA goons show up to support her, and Sylvie prunes herself, I was like, yeah, they were never going to work together. They made you think for a split second, though.
When who was it? The little clock was
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes.
Right. Yeah.
When she was stalling, did you take that as her like working with Renslayer, or did you think that was maybe just
her working in her own interests? Or
in her own interests, or whoever was behind the.
Without getting into episode 6 spoilers, I want to say, and not having seen episode 6 at the time, I really thought Miss Minutes was on Renslayer's side. Because she obviously was stalling. She was like, oh, gee, sure, a lot of records to find. Like, she was obviously spinning her wheels just to buy time. And Sylvie was wise to it. She was like, and it was cool. I really like how Sylvie clocked the BS from the jump. She was like, really? Like, come on, Yeah. And threatened them or whatever. And so it was nice seeing all that happen. Sylvie pruned herself. And not shortly on Sylvie's little timeline, not too long after that, after she prunes herself, she's running and she sees that vision of like that little castle behind the fog, if you would. I didn't know what that was at first. I thought
I didn't either. I had to watch it a few times over to
even understand what you saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, what am I looking at here? I thought I took that as like there was somewhere safe she could go. You know what I mean? Not that was like the final boss location, so to speak.
Oh.
And then not too long after, just out of coincidence, Mobius shows up and is like, might as well be in like a Pizza Planet truck. I don't even know what that was.
Yeah. I thought maybe it was a subtle reference. But
was it? I don't even know what kind of truck. It was just some sort of vehicle. I was like,
yeah, because if it was Pizza Planet, it would have been like a rocket.
No, it definitely wasn't that.
Yeah.
But I saw a meme that reminded me of that. Anyway. But anyway, yeah. He shows up some sort of little I don't know, van or. It doesn't matter. He shows up. He picks her up in the car. They almost get eaten a few times. And I like how they have their back and forth in the car. They're like basically giving each other crap about basically like the hunt, who's right, who's wrong, you know, who's like pure of heart and who's not, like whose missions are more noble and like who's a hypocrite and who's not.
Yeah.
So I like them going back and forth, and I like this entire series plays with shades of gray. You know what I mean? Because we get perspective from our Loki, and then versus the TVA. You know, he's being forced to work with them to find an even bigger bad, and it's just people and their motivations at the end of the day. You know what I mean? They're not necessarily right or wrong, and they've all done bad things to get what they wanted. And I think someone at some point said that they're all villains there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in a small way.
In a small way.
Yeah, it was. That
might have been episode 6, but
yeah,
a little spoiler. But they were kind of alluding to that anyway with old Loki at the end by the campfire, and he's like, "Why do you do what you do?" But without saying that in episode 5, he
was saying how he was deciding to change.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Mobius like why he did what he did? He was explaining why he did what he did, and like and where he would go after, and that kind of thing, and like why is he gonna go back? Like why go back? Why not just live your days out here? Yeah. And do you remember his explainer? I think the long and short of it was that like that was his purpose for the longest time, and that he's gonna try and make things right, that kind of thing.
Once he found out that he wasn't created by the TV.
Yeah, that he was a variant.
He was a variant. That it made him realize that his purpose wasn't necessarily to keep in line with the TV.
Right. Yeah, he kind of had like he hit a character growth moment. It was nice. And Dan, old Loki did too. I know we're jumping around, and like don't get me wrong, like I want to give credit to those, like that big scene where like they go back to the lair, everyone has little introductions, and Loki's talking with the other Lokis, and he's noticing that their nature is very similar, you know, like, and when the other Lokis show up when he's trying to leave and, you know, kill Eliath himself, how all of the evil Lokis show up, and there's double crosses, and there's like a whole, you know, shebang, and he's furious.
Very typical of Loki.
And he's very furious with himself. He's like, oh, like, why am I like this? You know, why are we like this? He's like, why can't we be better? And I think even Kid Loki at some point says, he's like, you know, that's just the Loki's nature. Like, you know, anytime we try and make a positive character change, you know, boom, we're pruned, or anything like that. And I was like, yeah, that's true.
We all turn on each other.
Everyone turns on each other. They get pruned or something. They can never be allowed to. And it's very existential, the whole show. They're like, you know, how can you be good or make any positive change if you've been branded, you're playing the role of the villain the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't even know it.
You don't even know it. Exactly. Yeah. I thought it was very, very interesting. But yeah, after that big fight, and then they leave, and then they end up meeting up with Sylvie and all that good stuff, and they decide they're gonna go for Eliath and all that. The only small thing I didn't really understand, but it was good that they played it up, is that like Loki learning to use that magic and enchant is cool, but I was like, I don't want to say it didn't feel earned, but I was like,
it was very fast track.
It was super fast track, bro. I was like, I get stressful situations can make a super person out of anyone, but like. Yeah, it was really quick.
It was weird because she did mention like, because we're the same, but then would that mean
that's flimsy?
Yeah, it is flimsy, because then are you referring to like all the variants being the same,
or is it just because you and I are so close?
Right,
that
because
we share a connection.
They've driven that point over that they are creating this bond between each other, but they.
Right. So what does that mean? We're the same. Does it mean you and I have a special connection, or is it that all Lokis are inherently good, good at this? Rather, you know what I mean? Like have the ability to do this, have the potential. Yeah, it was
even so far as the relationship. Like, is it them being drawn towards each other, or is it more just because they're Lokis?
That's maybe it's a little bit of both. I'm not sure, but I see what you mean with that point. So, but even before that, that amazing moment with old Loki, he like creates a awesome, like a whole replica of his Asgard. Like he is doing his little enchantment magic, or not enchantment, but I forget what it's called, manipulation, I guess, magic. I don't know how you call it.
Replication.
Yeah, I guess you could call it replication. Whatever it was, his magic, whatever. It was really good, really strong too. He struggled to keep it up at some points because I mean it was a lot, and then he ends up paying the ultimate sacrifice so that they can get past Eliath, or buy him a little more time. Which I didn't see them projecting that, and I wish we had a little more time with him so it could be more meaningful. But it was still nice.
Yeah, I was a little confused because Kid Loki, where did he go?
He dipped. He literally just dipped.
Because I felt like. Well, that was definitely where they, like, it
was tracking for that?
Yeah, it was tracking for that.
Okay, word.
But it didn't quite flow into
right
as good as it should have.
They didn't really follow up with what happened after either. Like obviously,
like they showed him leaving with Kid Loki and the alligator Loki.
Yeah, what happened to them two?
But, yeah, exactly.
I feel like we're gonna see them again.
Yeah,
there's no way we don't, especially with all the multiverse cracked wide open. So it's gonna be interesting to see how those two play going forward, because you don't go through the trouble of casting them and giving them their own scenes and just throwing them away after like an episode. Like they're gonna come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that we're getting
we're getting ahead of ourselves, but they're gonna come back. I knew that from episode 5. So they have the little beautiful moment, and that's pretty much boiling down to the end of the episode. Mobius goes back to the TVA to set things straight with Ravonna. So that's where he leaves off in a little temp pad, which is really convenient. If you can prune yourself and then temp pad out of there, that's a really useful place to know and be. Just saying, maybe they may or may not come back. We'll see. But yeah, so that's the last we see of Mobius. That's the last we see of Kid and old Loki, and then finally, our Loki and Sylvie are standing at the pearly gates, so to speak. They're behind the curtain, man, and they just got to go up. So that's where we leave off in episode 5. I remember feeling when it ended, I was like, well, that was fun, but like, get on with it. Like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Yeah. And with only one episode left, a lot was spelling through my head, and without spoiling 6, I was like, what if it's another big Loki? there's so many different theories, and they were all, they had their own merits and stuff. But what were you feeling towards the end of the episode personally?
Well, I felt like out of all the theories out there, the two strongest were definitely like the other variant Loki, maybe
like a bigger, badder Loki, whatever. And
then but also another one was Kang being
the man behind the curtain, so to speak.
The man behind the curtain.
Yeah, and it makes sense. That theory makes sense because he's a very time-based villain.
Right. Yeah, and
there's a few of them.
The background did sort of look similar to back when was it Ant-Man 2 or was it Endgame that we saw? How they time travel in between the quantum realm.
Oh, the quantum realm. Gotcha. Yeah, I can see where you would think that it looks similar to that. I honestly don't remember the architecture too much. I got like Doctor Strange vibes because it seemed like a castle.
Yeah. It did look maybe like Doctor Doom was, I think, another theory out there.
That could have been one too. Any of the super smarts. It had to be someone really smart. But another thing too, a fun little Easter egg. Did you notice it might have been the opening of this episode 5, or it had to be the opening of episode 5? Where like they're panning in and they're pushing in all the way through the city, and like so you can get to where Loki landed. And there was tons of Easter eggs. There was like Stark Tower. It wasn't even called Stark Tower. It was just like collapsed over.
Right. It was called Quang, I believe.
Quang.
Quang. Queng.
Something like that. Yeah, I forget the reference. What's that a reference to?
Yeah, it's a reference to Kang, which further tied to the theory that it was going to be him. Because he has variants himself. Right. He variant of him had bought Stark Tower at one point and turned it into a whole nother business.
Gotcha. So getting back to the little pan and Easter eggs, which is cool. Thank you for informing me of that. Did you notice? It could have been just me. I saw what looked like the Sanctum Sanctorum, like torn up on the left side.
Yes.
No one really talked about that on the online press outlets. I guess because it's not that big of an Easter egg. I mean, it's an Easter egg, but I thought it was relevant because obviously whatever happens at the end of this season, it's going to blow the doors wide open for what comes forward. And with Multiverse of Madness happening, I figured, okay, that's another important tie-in. Because all of that's relevant one way or another. Doctor Strange needs to be caught up to speed with the events that happen at the end of the series. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was pressing, and I wanted to know if you caught that too. So.
Yeah. Well, I watched the breakdown video, and they pointed it out.
They did? Okay. Yeah. None of the ones I watched pointed it out. They pointed out Stark Tower and gave me that backstory, but they never pointed out the Sanctum Sanctorum. So I was like, I'm not watching the same ones.
Also, there was the Thanos helicopter.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I didn't see that, but it was there.
It was in the very beginning when they were running toward their little chamber.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was it like in the dirt? Like with the lunch trays?
It was actually like just in the very near.
Oh, weird.
It was like right behind as it was. It was very like.
It was like a quick thing.
Very impassive.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, they're not gonna be like, hey, look at this thing. Hey, look
at that. They didn't make it apparent.
Well, cool. Anyway, those are our thoughts on Loki episode 5. And for Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll see you next time.